There is a moment that happens between many cats and the people who hold them that is both completely familiar and genuinely mysterious. You reach down, you scoop your cat up, and within moments, sometimes within seconds, something changes. The body that was alert and purposeful on the floor becomes something else entirely. The muscles release, the head drops slightly, the paws hang loose, the eyes take on a particular soft, slightly glazed quality. The whole animal, which weighs roughly the same as it did a moment ago, seems to weigh considerably more because it is no longer cooperating with gravity. It has simply stopped. Your cat has gone limp. Most owners have a name for this. Boneless cat, ragdoll mode, wet noodle. Whatever the nickname, the experience is universal enough that it has generated its own corner of the internet and its own taxonomy of affectionate descriptions. And most owners, when they try to explain why it happens, reach for the same explanation. My cat is relaxed. They trust me. They are comfortable being held. These explanations are not wrong, but they are significantly incomplete because the going limp phenomenon is not simply the physical expression of comfort or trust. It is a specific, well-defined neurobiological response with a name, a mechanism, and a scientific history that turns out to be far more interesting than my cat is chill. In 2023, a team of researchers at Kyoto University published a study in the journal iScience that did something nobody had formally done before: measured the going limp response in domestic cats, characterized its physiological properties, documented it systematically, and began to explain the mechanism behind it. And the findings were not what most people expected. Today, we are going through all of it: the science, the mechanism, the evolutionary history, what it means for your relationship with your cat, and critically, what the going limp response is actually telling you about your cat's state of mind, because it does not always mean what you think it means.
The 2023 study from Kyoto University, led by Michael Delgado and colleagues and published in iScience, set out to investigate what the researchers described as the transport response in domestic cats, the specific behavioral and physiological response that cats show when picked up and carried by a human. The transport response is not unique to cats. It is observed across a wide range of mammalian species and has a specific name in the behavioral science literature: the infant carrying response, or more formally, the calm and passive response to transport. In kittens, it is triggered by the mother cat picking them up by the scruff, the loose skin at the back of the neck, for transport. When a mother cat picks up a kitten by the scruff, the kitten goes immediately quiet, limp, and still. It stops struggling. It tucks into a compact, manageable posture. It becomes, in the most literal sense, easy to carry. This response is so reliable and so immediate that it was given its own acronym in the research literature: PINP, pinch-induced behavioral inhibition. What the Kyoto study found was that this response, the going limp, the becoming still, the particular quality of relaxed immobility, is not limited to kittens being transported by their mother. It persists into adulthood in domestic cats, and it can be triggered not only by scruff grasping, but by the act of being picked up and held by a human in a way that replicates the kinesthetic experience of being carried. The researchers measured heart rate, movement, and behavioral state in cats during scruff grasping and during being held in a human's arms, and found that both conditions produced measurable relaxation responses: reduced movement, reduced heart rate, and behavioral indicators consistent with a calm, inhibited state compared to control conditions. The going limp is not random. It is a specific, measurable physiological response with a consistent trigger and a consistent mechanism. This is the first crucial thing to understand. Your cat does not go limp because they decided to relax. They go limp because a specific neural program was activated.
To understand why this neural program exists and what it is doing, we have to go back to the evolutionary context in which it developed, and the story it tells is one of the most elegant examples of adaptive behavior in mammalian development. The infant carrying response evolved across multiple mammalian species because it solves a specific problem that every mobile mammal mother with dependent young faces: how to transport offspring quickly and safely without the offspring making the transport harder. A struggling, vocalizing, writhing infant is difficult to carry, draws predator attention, and slows the mother's movement. An infant that goes quiet and limp the moment it is picked up is easy to carry, produces no additional predator-attracting sound or movement, and can be transported with speed and efficiency. Natural selection favored the offspring who showed the strongest PINP response, the ones who went most reliably limp, quiet, and still when grasped by the scruff. These offspring were transported more successfully, reached safety more often, and survived to reproduce. Generations of selection for this trait refined it into what we see today, a response so immediate, so consistent, and so complete that it functions almost like a biological off switch for active behavior. The specific mechanism is neurological. The pressure of being grasped at the scruff, or the kinesthetic experience of being lifted and held in a way that mimics this, activates a pathway in the autonomic nervous system that triggers the parasympathetic response, the branch of the nervous system responsible for rest, calm, and inhibition of active behavior. Heart rate drops, muscle tone reduces, the animal becomes passive without becoming unconscious. It is awake, aware, and monitoring its environment, but it has stopped actively moving or resisting. Research from the neuroscience of immobility responses, including work on tonic immobility in multiple species, has confirmed that this kind of induced calm is mediated by specific brainstem circuits that are conserved across a wide range of mammals. The cat going limp in your arms is activating the same ancient neural circuitry that allowed their ancestors to survive being transported by their mothers through environments where drawing attention to yourself was dangerous.